Imagine if I told you that a team had no wins but managed to make it to the final. This is the story of a team that almost pulled off one of the most ludicrous and possibly luckiest tournament champions ever. Here's the epic journey and story of Copa America 2011 finalist Paraguay. Paraguay aren't considered one of the big three in CONMEBOL, but have previously won the Copa America on 2 occasions. First in 1953, beating Brazil in the final 3-2, and the second time was in 1979, beating Chile in the final. But since the triumph in 1979, Paraguay have only progressed to the semifinals on 2 occasions. Although their Copa America success was short-lived, Paraguay was very successful in qualifying for the World Cup, qualifying to the 1986 World Cup in Mexico for the first time since 1958, and then a 12-year break until their next World Cup appearance in France 1998. They reached the round of 16, losing to eventual champions France, thanks to a golden goal by Laurent Blanc in extra time. Another heartbreak loss in 2002, losing to Germany in the round of 16. Neuville scoring in the 88th minute to deny a historic moment for Paraguay, as Paraguay have never progressed past the round of 16 in the World Cup. They qualified again in 2006, but bounced out in the group stage. After Aníbal Ruiz's departure, Tata Martino was announced manager of Paraguay in early 2007. Tata had experience in managing Paraguayan clubs like Libertad, Zero Porteño, which proved to be a big reason why the FA wanted to hire Tata. Paraguay performed well in CONMEBOL qualifiers, winning 10 games and losing only 5, scoring 24 goals and only conceding 16 goals in 18 games in qualifiers. Confidence was high heading into the World Cup in 2010 in South Africa. They were in the same group as defending champions Italy, New Zealand, and Slovakia, so progressing out of the group was definitely the goal. Their first match they drew with the defending champions Italy 1-1 and picked up 3 points in their next game against Slovakia, winning 2-0. They drew their last game versus New Zealand and topped the group for the first time ever in their history. Winning the group made it even more possible that Paraguay could progress to the quarters for the first time ever. In the round of 16, they went up against Japan. After a fierce game that would ultimately end in penalties, Paraguay converted all 4 penalties after Comano's miss. Paraguay legend Oscar Cardoso stepped up and converted his penalty to create history for Paraguay, advancing to the quarterfinals of the World Cup for the first time ever. Waiting for Paraguay in the quarters were tournament favorite Spain, in a game where Paraguay did very well to nullify Spain and force them to mainly cross. In the second half, the madness began, where Piqué did his best impersonation of a school kid holding hands and brought down Cardoso in the box to give Paraguay a penalty. The legend stepped up, but Iker Casillas saved the penalty, even though you could say his foot was off the line. Spain immediately counterattacked after Casillas' save and won a penalty when Alcaraz brought down Villa in the box. Xabi Alonso scored, but was ordered to retake the penalty because of encroachment by the Spanish players. His retake was saved by Villar, and the game remained 0-0 until David Villa stepped up once again for Spain, scoring off both posts and giving Spain a 1-0 victory. Paraguay's historic run would come to an end, but a truly heartbreaking loss to take. After the game, Martino announced he would be leaving the position as manager due to his contract running out. But after a few weeks, Martino remained as manager with Paraguay on a 4-year contract, but they could review the situation of the contract after next year's Copa America in 2011. Heading into the Copa America, Argentina, the hosts, were one of the favorites, including Uruguay after their semi-final World Cup run, and then Brazil, with a young team always going to be favorites. Paraguay were confident in their own style and hoping to make a deep run in the Copa America for the first time in a very long time. As Roque Santa Cruz said before the tournament, we are coming into this tournament as the first ever Paraguayan team to reach the quarterfinals of the World Cup. On top of that, we have a team that has been playing together for a long time. Now, we believe it's the right moment to achieve something historic. Great teams are judged on titles, and that's why winning this Copa America is our aim. But a surprise before their Copa America, as Tata Martino didn't call up Oscar Cardoso in the final 23-man squad for the tournament, even though Cardoso scored 23 times for Benfica the season before. Nonetheless, Paraguay were still a dark horse to win the tournament in Argentina, and what unfolded genuinely may never be seen again in football. Paraguay were in Group B with Brazil, Ecuador, and Venezuela. The first match started off with a 0-0 draw versus Ecuador, which would be a similar trend for Paraguay throughout this tournament. Their second match was a clash versus Brazil that had youngsters Ganso and Neymar starting for them. Jadson would give Brazil the lead with a beautiful shot into the corner. Roque Santa Cruz would equalize the game in the second half. Then substitute Nelson Valdez would give the lead to Paraguay. But substitute Fred would equalize in the 89th minute with a first-time shot to earn a draw for Brazil and another draw for Paraguay. Heading into the last game, Venezuela were top with 4 points. Brazil and Paraguay were both level on 2, and Ecuador with 1 point. Paraguay and Venezuela would play out a thrilling game. Venezuela took the lead in the first 5 minutes thanks to Rondon. Paraguay then hit back with 3 goals, with Riveríos giving Paraguay a 3-1 lead in the 85th minute. Venezuela would stage an epic comeback, scoring 2 goals in the 89th and 92nd minute to, yes, equalize the game, and you guessed it, earn another draw versus Paraguay. Paraguay would advance as one of the best third-place teams, just edging Costa Rica on goal difference. And Paraguay's opponents in the quarterfinals was a familiar rival in Brazil. Brazil had many chances in the game, with either Captain Villar coming up clutch with saves or defenders clearing it off the line for Paraguay. But of course, Paraguay, similar to a California girl with Starbucks drinks, ended the game in a draw, and penalties would decide the outcome of this game. Brazil decided to have a disaster class of disaster class and a lesson on how not to take penalties, as they missed all 4 penalties. Villar came up clutch with 1 save, and for the first time since 1989, we're in the semifinals of the Copa America. Paraguay again would face a familiar opponent in Venezuela, who were making their first appearance in the semifinals ever. This time Paraguay offered more attacking wise, but Venezuela had the better chances, including hitting the post and crossbar on a couple of occasions. But in total and utter shock, Paraguay and Venezuela ended goalless and went to penalties. Villar, again the hero for Paraguay, as he saved Lucena's penalty. Dario Veron converted the final penalty. So after 5 straight draws, 2 goalless draws in the knockout stage, and winning both quarterfinals and semifinals on penalties, Paraguay advanced to the final of the Copa America in the most bizarre and truly unique way possible. And this would be Paraguay's first finals appearance in the Copa America since 1979. The final of the Copa America was set. Paraguay, who were looking to create a truly historic achievement, against Uruguay, who were aiming for their first Copa America since 1995. The final, it turned out to be a complete mismatch, as Uruguay absolutely dominated Paraguay, and the duo of Suarez and Forlan were unplayable on the day. Uruguay won the game 3-0 to capture their 15th Copa America in their history, and Paraguay's incredible run was over. Paraguay's fascinating and bizarre run didn't end with champions glory, but they pulled off one of the most insane runs we may ever see in football. So is this the luckiest finalist in history? You let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and we'll be bringing a lot of Copa America content heading into the summer. So if you're interested in Copa America content, this is the channel to be. Have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Till next time. Adios.